Welcome back to the Lineout Lab. My name is Peter O'Donnell. Recently, you might have seen this try in one of the early rounds from the NPC in New Zealand, where North Harbour scored this brilliantly put together try against Tasman. Now, I suppose within this video, there's a couple of discussion points within it. One about the illegalities and whatnot, but I'm not going to focus too much on that. I'll highlight them. But for me, I think we should enjoy this as a really well constructed line-out trick play. And yeah, so you've probably possibly seen it, but I want to just highlight a couple of reasons as to why it's a really good play and why it works. So we'll play it through and then I'll talk about it. Okay, so North Harbour win the ball in the middle front. They look like they're maybe going to do a transfer and then they do a wrap play going open side. So really smart, well put together. And yeah, a great try. So let's look at it. We've got a 6+1 scenario. Okay, the way Tasman are defending, it's early on in the game. Okay, they've got a forward here as a tail gunner in the white scum cap. They've got a forward here in the channel. They're looking to kind of give them the front, unless, well, potentially this guy could turn around to lift if they go all the way to the front. But they're looking to kind of compete here in this sort of area and force them here. So North Harbour take that space and win the ball. So as we play it on, as I say, the first area of contention that people might complain about is whether that's obstruction from the lifters. So you can see here are the two lifters denying access to the jumper. Not too many people comment on this when I put it up on one of my other socials, but yeah, that's potentially one area of contention. I'm not worrying about that at the moment, okay? The second thing is this transfer. It is illegal to dummy that the maul is over, so to speak, which again, I don't necessarily agree with, but, you know, given the, anyway, that's again another discussion, but I really admire this. I think it's really well put together. So the reason why I don't think this is illegal is because I think you can argue that this maul hasn't formed yet. Okay, it's a tackle at the moment. If that had happened in the middle of the pitch off a breakdown, you know, you pop to a group of forwards, or, you know, 9 plays of group of forwards off 10, or any ball carrier for that matter, and they're getting held up by 2 defenders, you know, the referee's not going to call maul straight away. So for me, I think this is fair game. Play on, okay? So, and what if we go back, what's really smart about this is North Harbour looking to isolate these last 2 men, okay? And with the new law in particular, do you want to commit like a flat wall of 4? Do you want to commit a flat wall of 5? Do you want to commit a flat wall of 6? These are all the questions that people are going to be thinking about at the moment. Or do you want to have 4 and one in behind? Do you want to have 4 and 2 in behind? So there's loads of questions and considerations that people are going to have at the moment. But either way, I think they're trying to target these last 2 men, which they do really well. So if you keep your eye on the second last man for North Harbour, so they're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 commit to them all, and then this guy, keep your eyes out on him in particular. So he looks like he's going to try and hit from the side here. But in fairness to him, he's got good eyes here. Most defences, to be fair, they have to respect them all first and foremost. And the second thing is they can really only cover 2 things well, I would say. And otherwise they're going to be stretched, which is what happens here. So we can see both these 2 guys get good eyes on this dummy transfer. Okay, or what looks like a dummy transfer. Or what looks like a transfer, excuse me. And we can see they both react. And a lot of teams defend like this, where they'll have 2 from the negative side, i.e. the side where the ball hasn't gone, and they'll try and cover that space. They'll both try and cover around, which is going to isolate this man in particular. So that's what happens here. Both the 2 defenders, they see it, they try to adjust, and that leaves space in here for this lovely play. Now, if I'm being very critical of the defence, what I would say is, the first defender is too wide. We can't even see him yet. Okay, he'll come into picture now in a second. You can just see his foot there. Like, for me, that's almost a 10 meter. That's almost a 10 meter gap between the 2 defenders here. That close to the line, that's too big for me. And we can see how hard, as this play evolves, how hard that first defender off the line has to work, and how much he has to come in, bite in to take that space. So I think that's maybe one defensive area. It might necessarily have stopped the try, but I think that's just one thing the defence needs to be conscious of. So this is roughly what it looks like on paper when you're kind of putting down your X's and O's, so to speak. And what the attacker trying to do is trying to isolate these 2 men with this play. As I say, most teams going to cover them all first, or they look to defend them all first, and then they can possibly cover like a peel, a shift, a transfer, but then it's really hard to cover a third player after that, which is why I really admire it, as I say. And as we play it on, what most defences will do is they'll either commit this man here or potentially in behind. So you could really look to exploit these two defenders here. And because 6 also has to respect the fact that could be mauling, he might be needed, especially this close at the line with the new laws. He's also under pressure as well. So they've gone after these two men, and it's what makes it a really, really good try. Putting together the timing and the line of running in particular, really well done. So great try. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts.